Can we ask you to walk us through the new town plan?
Yeah, so you guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I just sent out to you all a 3-page document that I'm going to talk through. It's going to take me about 10 minutes to get through it. If you don't see it, you can read it later, and I'll just talk you through it over the phone here. But the first page really outlines kind of the approach and the process that we went through. And I want to make sure it's clear to you guys, where we've been and where we're going on this. So on the left-hand side of the first page there, it's just a snapshot of the table of contents for the town plan. And you guys have had the full copy now for probably a month. And, the process we went through, Ed Bove's on from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. So just a reminder, we got a grant to get his help with updating the plan. He helped with the whole plan, but he also helped us really build out the economic development section that I'll walk you through. We've got a lot more content and tasks in that section than we've had before. And then really since the fourth quarter of 2019, we went through a process to get the plan updated. And, every section was reviewed. There's a lot of good content about the town. It was reviewed for accuracy. All the maps, the statistical graphics, Ed updated and made them more current. The Planning Commission basically debated and agreed on the appropriate tasks for the plan. And the last 2 slides in this document, I'm going to walk you through the top priorities because I really think it's important you guys are aware of what we're planning to focus on in the upcoming year and a half. One of the new adds to the plan is a consolidated implementation plan. Before they were scattered through, the document. Now we've consolidated it into one list. It's clearly prioritized. We've got time frames delineated for each of those. So that's kind of a nice new tool now we'll be using to manage the plan. We did talk about the community survey, which is in Appendix 1. Not everyone agreed we should include it, but the majority of the commissioners felt it was worth keeping, primarily because of the information. Although not 100% still current, there was still some good insights in there, and most of the commission felt that the background would be useful for citizens. We also talked about whether we should do a new survey, and the consensus was that it wasn't necessary at this time. But I think you guys know by now, periodically we work with you to refresh the tasks in the plan. And we did say that as we go through that process, we'll kind of test whether it would be beneficial to add that task into the plan and then pursue a survey. Of course, you guys would have to, the select board would have to approve it and fund it. But that's how we ended up dealing with that. We had a public workshop prior to COVID-19 outbreak in the first quarter. This was the economic development workshop, and again, good content from folks that attended there that I'll talk through. We delayed the public hearing in May. It was scheduled for May. COVID hit. The governor gave us an extension on the expiration date to August, so we took advantage of that. We did hold the public hearing, as you know, in July. Received really minimum requests for change in the plan, but there was a lot of really high praise for the quality of the work that the commission did from several individuals on the call. And then we're up to this point now, this public hearing, to talk about the plan and kind of determine where you guys want to go with it. And then, as I said, the next 2 slides, I'm going to take you through the 2020 and 2021 focus areas. The full plan has the 2022 plus tasks as well. But, to get through it tonight quickly, I just focused on the next year and a half worth of, or whatever months we have left in 20 into 21. So before I dive into that, are there questions on what I covered here on this slide?
No, I don't. Anybody have any questions? All right.
Okay.
No, not questions, but I have areas that I want to talk about when we get into that.
Okay, so let me just start plowing through, and this is a bit of an eye chart, but again, it's the top priorities of the tasks, and you can see it's organized by the sections of the plan. We've got the timing that I talked about, and these are all 2020, 2021. Some of them are ongoing tasks, some of them, tagged as annually. The prioritization scheme that we use is very simple: A's, B's, C's, D's, A's being the top priority. And then each task in the plan has a identifier now, so you can refer to the task by those identifiers. Starting at the top with the implementation portion of the plan, you guys, I know you remember that in 2015 we put in place an implementation process that did not exist, and that involved, appointing me the implementation coordinator for the plan, working with the commission. It involved, managing this plan, having monthly meetings with the planning commission to work through the plan, the periodic updates we do with you guys, to make sure we're hitting the right direction, the minutes on front porch, all of that is stuff that we put in place, and we want to continue doing that. The next piece is we were able to engage a number of community organizations to take ownership for the tasks in the plan. So like Danby, Mount Tabor Now, the Historic Society, a couple others. We want to continue that practice because it really gets the community engaged. And then, as I said, refreshing the task periodically so that it's a living, breathing plan that we use to kind of, manage our strategy and our goals for the town. Second area is community. And the first piece there is around, the first piece there, and it came out of the workshop on the economic development, was really promoting Danby as a town that's close to Rutland, Manchester, Dorset. We've got the best quality internet access almost in the country, affordable housing, right? Access to the best schools. That's something to be very proud of and promote. Supporting the town-wide events. So a number of new events have been put in place over the course of the last 5 years. We want to keep those going, including the veteran events, the annual plan, the tag sales, the Historic Society events. Those are all really important things to keep alive. Moving to cultural, historic, scenic, and recreation resources. This one is about promoting the historic and outdoor historic and outdoor activities available. And developing kind of long-term plans, cooperating with other towns on recreation. This concept of an illustrated guide of village architecture, that's also something we want to explore. Next item is improving sidewalks for pedestrians and bike paths in the village. And then the final one there on that grouping is continuing supporting the Historic Society and all the work they do and however we can help them. Next is natural resources, and this one really is more about getting information out to citizens, the latest information from the feds and the states on natural resource conservation. We did that in 2015, and we want to make sure it's current. The next one is energy, and very similar, making current state and federal information available to citizens on energy conservation. Next is analyzing broader use of solar and wood power, and then the last one there is the hydro power potential for the Danby waterways. That's energy. Land use, as part of the last plan, we put in place a process to allow property owners to discuss land use concerns. And it's up on the website. It's a complaint process. It's used for any kind of complaint, but land use type complaints can be directed through there. And there's strong encouragement in there that says work it out with your neighbors first. If you don't work it out, use the complaint process. If a complaint comes in, it floats up to the select board. Not all the time, it may be handled by others, but some of them may float to the select board to deal with. And then the last piece on land use, our land use maps in the plan really is our land use governance for the town. So all those maps are available up on the website. We want to publicize that to people, and also the complaint process as well. So that's something that we've got on the list for land use. The next is utilities, facilities, and education. So here we're looking to seek volunteers from the community to help the select board, the auditors, listers, planning commission with administrative activities. And the real point here is to promote involvement in government and groom the next generation of local officials. The next item is we still have the town garage, either relocation or renovation on the list. So we want to continue focusing on that. Next item is identifying candidates and successors, making that an active program where we kind of promote successors to town government roles. Next item is the town office renovations, making sure that those are maintained and it doesn't, fall to needing a lot of repairs. What's the next one here? The next one is sharing costs with surrounding towns. So town services costs, things like the transfer station, road maintenance. Start working with other towns to see if we can kind of share costs and save money. Next item is really just being in tune with the road supervisor and understanding the plans. And then lastly, hazard mitigation stuff. We really focus on the river corridor stuff with you guys during the last plan period. That didn't pass. So most of these items we've pushed to 2022. And just give me 3 or 4 more minutes to talk about economic development, and that'll wrap this up. And as I said, this is much more beefy than it was before, thanks to Ed and thanks to the workshop that we had. So starting at the top, the very first item is developing an economic development oversight committee with Mount Tabor. The idea is, like, we could call it the Danby Mount Tabor Economic Development Cooperative. And the idea is that we work through these tasks with Mount Tabor because so much of our plan is dependent on working with them. So that's an idea that we want to explore. The next is, attracting and sustaining agriculture and light industry. The next one is, analyzing recommendations to revitalize the Route 7 corridor. Next is similar along the Route 7 corridor, the feasibility of establishing a light industry industrial park. The next one is really more about connecting the village to Route 7 to draw people in. So signage, probably something like that. The next one is this concept we learned about from Calais, Vermont, where a group of citizens got together as shareholders. They invested in a country store that went out of business, and they stood it back up and they operated it. So this is really that kind of concept, looking at establishing private shareholders that will invest money and help operate struggling businesses. The next one is reestablishing a local gathering place. We really don't have that anymore in the town. Next one is keep what we have, right? So we do have businesses, so let's promote them and make sure they're healthy. The next is promoting and establishing cannabis and hemp farming industries. Next idea is this is working with Smoky House, expanding their mission so it becomes an economic engine to draw more people into Danby. And the idea is work with Smoky House to expand their charter so that it goes from agriculture, broaden it to forestry, to climate change, to recreation. So that was a thought that came out of the workshop. Establishing a farmer's market in the village, maintaining and evolving the town website, doing an inventory on vacant properties and exploring the options to recruit businesses to fill the empty properties. Create events that happen 1 or 2 times a year with businesses, tourism, and transportation companies to kind of just like a brainstorming type of session where we can share ideas and augment this economic development plan. And just a couple more here. This next one is around offering real estate tax abatements to, help businesses. Establishing a craft beer business in town. And then finally, it's the biking and hiking trails piece. So that's really it. That's the summary. These are the priorities, as I said, over the last 2 pages, and hopefully it helped going through the process and the approach that we took. And that's all I got.
We can open it up for some discussion. Does anybody have any questions for Bob or comments?
I have a number of things I'd like to talk about. I am really not in favor of keeping the survey. It might be okay to keep it in the back, but some of the blurbs that appear throughout the plan are really no longer relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would propose taking those out and just keeping the written comments in the back, because I think what our plan wants to do is it wants to promote Danby as a positive place to either live or do business. And some of the things are just blatantly outdated, like get a website. We have a website, so that doesn't need to be there anymore.
Right.
So I'd like to see those come out.
Yeah, Brad, as I said, there was a lot of conversation on it. I was one that said we should pull the whole thing because it was outdated, but the other commissioners felt it was good info. I think what you're suggesting is a great compromise, though.
Or, at least review them and take out the ones that are, blatantly over and done with.
Okay.
Then my next comment would be on page 9, under Danby land use. The second paragraph has a sentence that reads, "This has recently created challenges where some village residents have expressed concerns with balancing the benefits industrial operations provide with the impact to abutting residential areas." So that goes again back to 2014, and
right. Okay.
That's over and done with, and I really don't think it needs to be there anymore.
Okay.
I think we should take that out.
Yeah. All right. That's no problem.
Do we need to make a motion to take that out?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Yeah. What I would suggest, instead of going through each of the changes, let's hear them, discuss them, and then let's try to take care of them all at once. If that makes sense to everybody, because there could be a lot.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay. So then my next comment is on page 14, which is the Danby survey results.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see that one pulled out of there if we don't take all of them out of there.
Yeah. So Brad, I agree with you. Let's take the blurbs out that are embedded in each of the chapters.
Okay.
And then in the appendix, I will scan through it and remove anything that's done. So I think that's a great compromise.
Okay, I agree.
So
and
you can,
then on page 28, the paragraph about the Historical Society,
mm-hmm.
none of the other organizations in town talk about how many members are active or inactive. So I'd like to see the second sentence read, "Membership is open to all in both towns, including part-time residents." Because it's hard to say how many people are active. We have people who are very active that never come to a meeting.
Right.
They contribute largely. They send things over the internet and so forth.
Okay. No problem.
So did you get the?
Yeah, I think I got it. I got it.
Okay, then on page 30, surface waters, the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line down says that Millbrook travels north. I'm not sure how that got in there. Millbrook travels east.
Okay.
I think it's getting confused with the other brook that kind of parallels Danby Mountain Road. That has a section that flows north.
Okay.
Millbrook starts like on the Batiste farm and the overflow from Danby Pond, and it continues basically in a southeasterly direction.
Yep. Okay,
Then
got
on
it.
thank you, on page 31, groundwater, the 1, 2, 3, 4th line down, it says the potential for poorer groundwater does exist. However, in the town's more populated areas and where structures are located downstream from higher density areas and farms. Okay, the potential exists, but the potential also does not exist. So I don't know why we want to draw attention to something like that. I'd rather paint a rosy picture than say, well, you may die of cancer in 5 years. You may not.
Okay. Page 31.
And then that whole next paragraph about groundwater can be subject to contamination. We really don't have all those things that are listed in the bullets there, so I'd just like to see that whole paragraph come out. I think people understand what contaminates groundwater, and certainly Danby is not a place that has an abundance of these things, and we should be making people think that we have a lot of contamination here.
I think the only thing I would say on
Brad,
this is, let me just add it real quick. Part of the purpose of the town plan is to educate people, to ensure they understand these things. So it's in my mind, and it could be a wordsmithing thing we do, Brad, to make it not sound like doom and gloom. But I think there is an element of educating people what could happen if we don't do well with it.
Yeah, the element
just,
exists, but it's not like we have been cited as having,
Right.
brownfields or something.
Right.
no,
So
it doesn't
why mention
say-
that?
Well, but it doesn't say that, Brad, that we've been cited. And I do think there's some middle ground here, because I think a plan isn't just to paint a rosy picture. It's not to sell you the
It's to
town.
paint an accurate
We can
picture.
put together. Well, it's to show where our areas are focused on and what our resources are that are precious and that we want to preserve. And I think that our groundwater is one of those things, and educating people and knowing that we want to conserve our groundwater and protect it. I think so. We can wordsmith, but I'm not in favor of taking the whole thing out. I think it's a resource that we should mention is valuable to the town, and I think that's a plus for the town.
Why don't you guys let me wordsmith it, and I'll circulate it. All right. And Ed, we're going to need to confer, because you've got the master of that Microsoft Word document. That's humongous. But Ed and I will confer, and we'll make the tweaks that Brad's talking through, and then we'll circulate it, and we'll make it easy for you. We'll just call out the pieces we're changing, and you guys can weigh in over email if that's fair.
That's good. Now, on page 35, it's basically the same thing with air quality. When you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines down, it says, however, the Air Pollution Control Division has reported the Rutland area's particulate matter levels to be among the highest in the state, while 24-hour sulfur dioxide levels are higher in than in Burlington. You know, is that Rutland or is that Danby? It seems like we have very clean air here in Danby.
So the point's taken. It's the same point. We'll do some wordsmithing.
Okay. And let's see, page 36 is another one of those Danby surveys that I think should come out. Page 43. One second here, I'm having difficulty holding the phone and turning pages. On page 43, we have two pictures. We have one of the underside of Bridge 8, and we have the road pictured above it. Again, it's showing a negative thing. I'm thinking that we should have a picture of the nice new High Bridge and the nicely new paved Tinmouth Road.
Okay.
Okay, and then on page 51. Page 51. Oh, I guess it's on page 50. Again, the survey results. And then on page 63, we start talking about culture and recreation. Bear with me. I'd like to see something added there about snowmobiles and ATVs, because we do have a lot of trails. We have the Green Mountain Climbers, and I think we should encourage that kind of activity.
Okay.
So that's it from Brad.
Thank you, Brad. Thanks for being so thorough on that. So I guess what I'd recommend to you guys, let Ed and I address these issues. Like that's what you can agree to, that Ed and I will take a cut on addressing these and circulate it over email, and then we can take it from there, Lynn, if that makes sense.
I think that makes sense.
I've got at least one that I'd like to bring up.
Please do.
On Bob's overview, number 44, the last line is groom next generation of local officials. That sounds to me like we're trying to program people to think.
That's a good one.
I think that line should be taken out.
Well, again, maybe it could be wordsmithed a little. I think we know what you mean, Bob, but maybe it does sound a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Steve, that interpretation was probably right on. That wasn't the intent, though, to brainwash. It was really to build interest in people running and participating in government is what it is. And it actually overlaps a little bit with the one on getting people to help out, and getting engaged. We could probably combine them and soften.
Or maybe add some examples.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. We'll add that to our wordsmithing, and I'll merge them also.
This one.
Steve, you have more?
Does someone else have a comment?
Yeah.
Well, the only other thing that I'm curious on is how do citizens own portions of the plan for implementation? How does that work?
It's really, the idea is getting local organizations involved in these tasks. So in some examples that happened over the last 5 years, one of the plans and the tasks in the plan was improving trees in the village, right? Bringing back the trees that used to be there, and the Historic Society with contributions took it on and planted all those trees. The town didn't have to do anything. Danby, Mount Tabor now, building a park. That was one of our tasks. We built a park in the village. So that's the idea, Steve, is, getting organizations engaged in the plan and helping us deliver on it. So it's not all on the town's shoulders.
Okay.
So were there public comments? I know that I see Annette's out there. She joined us, and I know Terry's there. Any other comments from folks?
This is Annette. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, hey Annette, how you doing?
Good. I posted some things on the chat while Brad was speaking. Regarding that section about groundwater pollution, there have been some issues with underground storage tanks in town, and also I'm aware of some problems with pesticides. I think that as an educational thing, I think that language is okay to leave in there, but
Okay.
I don't think it reflects negatively. It's just those are issues that people should be aware of in groundwater. The reference to the Air Pollution Control Division, it's been renamed, and I just looked it up because I didn't know what it was called. It's now called Air Quality and Climate Division.
Okay.
And I suggest a rewording of the grooming.
Yeah.
Encourage participation in local government. I mean, there's that. I guess my other concern is that I am concerned that Danby does not have a town plan. And so I hope that, I don't see that any of the changes that are being suggested would be considered substantive changes. I think that's Ed's call. But I hope that making these changes does not delay the select board's adoption of the plan, because we've been without a plan now for several months. And there are just a number of reasons why it's wise to have a town plan.
And Ed, do we still have time? The governor extended to August. Did he extend it further? You're on mute, Ed.
Got it. A lot of the funding agencies have kind of given this extension. So I think if you recessed it for, 2 weeks, because I don't know, again, as Annette said, if these changes are going to be substantive, but just to be safe, you might want to give it just recess it for 2 weeks. And I still think you'd have, nothing would be technically expired because of all the extensions. And I think that act the governor signed, this falls under that. So I think 2 weeks wouldn't hurt, but not any longer.
Yeah, I'll get this all done on the weekend. If Ed, if you can get me a flash drive or something with that document, I'll take it from here and get it done this weekend.
Yeah, or Bobby, it might be easier if you just call me and send it over, because that document is going to start shifting around now when I start taking out the survey stuff. And so I need to get those out first to format it.
Okay.
Before I can get it over to you. But why don't we just talk tomorrow and figure out a plan to get it done, and we'll turn it quickly and get it back to the select board.
Yeah, it shouldn't take long. Go ahead, Lynn.
Well, I think that we appreciate that it gives us a 2-week window, and I believe, and select board members, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're finding that for something that we have to reconvene on, after whatever, by telephone, we can find time to get us together to do that in 2 weeks.
One other comment. This is Annette. Brad was suggesting swapping out a couple pictures. So Brad, can you take the pictures and get them in, or how's that going to happen quickly?
Good question.
Oh, yeah, sure. I could take some pictures.
That'd be great, Brad. Then we know you like it.
And send them to you, Bob?
Yeah, just email them to me.
Ed?
Jimmy and Ed, yeah, and we'll get them in.
Brad,
Okay, cool.
don't I have those pictures already?
Of
No,
the new-
I was talking about putting positive pictures in rather than negative pictures. So
Right.
a picture of the recently redone High Bridge rather than the bottom side of Bridge 8 and
Right.
the newly repaved Tinmouth Road.
Right.
Okay.
If anybody has a classic automobile they'd like to have in the picture, that would be great.
Good idea.
Well,
Let's put in good
Somebody caught the humor, thank goodness.
It would look good, Brad. All right, guys. What else? So we got our takeaways. We'll work on it.
Very good. And we'll come up with a date in 2 weeks where we'll give you a chance to get it to us and read it over, and then we'll set a date. As long as we have time for it, we'll be fine.
Very good.
So the only thing I'm going to say though is that it sounds like these changes are substantive, which means you need 2 weeks between when they're out there again until the hearing. So
we need 2 weeks to warn the hearing.
yeah, and then have those comments or changes need to be public for 2 weeks.
Okay.
What makes them substantive, Ed?
Yeah.
Well, it's like one of those things you don't know it until you see it. And I just think with a lot of the changes of some of the comments and tones and now the pictures and format and some of the survey stuff, I mean, it's the select board's call. If you think those are not substantive and just want to be like, hey, we'll recess, we'll do these changes and put it back out there and,
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is they're not substantive. Really, the guts of the plan are the tasks and what we're working on.
Yeah.
And we got one. Well, you heard the changes from Steve, right? And so that's a combination of tasks and changing the wording. And the rest of it it's really pictures, wordsmithing, but the concepts aren't changed. So I really feel like it's not substantive. It's substantive editing work, Ed. And you're right, it's in the eye of the beholder, but my opinion is it's not.
So then if that's the case and the select board feels the same way, you can adopt it tonight contingent on those changes and go.
I think we'd feel better seeing what the changes, are, since it is word thing, and people, obviously people have read it closely and invested some interest in it. So I think to have you all come back with a draft, but if they're not substantive and if we can, forego the additional 2 weeks on the hearing, that might help us reach the deadline that Annette spoke about, in terms of wanting to get a town plan in place.
There was one change that I think may be substantive, and that is the removal of the language about I think the first comment that Brad made, removing the language about the village, and some people are concerned about the impacts of I forget how it was actually worded, but I think that there are still people in the village who have those concerns. And so I wouldn't say that was necessarily ended in 2014. And if this plan were adopted without that in it, without any public notice of it, that might be problematic. It would be easier to just leave that in.
I think, but is that on page 9?
Yeah, I think that's,
Yes.
yeah, I think that's the page 9 one.
Let's just take it out. It's been out. We don't need that in there. We already said we're going to take it out.
I think Annette's point is that if we're going to take it out, that's a substantive change. So we should repost it and give 2 weeks for people to comment. Is that right, Annette? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Certainly, if we want to err on the side of caution, we would repost it, and we would do those changes and repost it. But what is the timeline? Can you, Bob and Ed, can you turn it around quick enough that we could, get that warned up pretty soon, so it won't go out
Yeah.
for 4 weeks?
I'll have it all done this weekend, but I have to coordinate with Ed tomorrow But I think he's got, taking that stuff out, it's going to reformat the whole thing. It's going to be a little bit of work. But Ed, we'll talk about how I can help you with that too, so it's not all on your shoulders.
It's, Bob, it's fine. I can get some of it out tomorrow, and then on Saturday, I can send that over, and you can just send me the language, and then I can just try to insert it that way. That might be easier, and then send you the document after that.
Yeah, I gotta get my hands on the Word document, so I don't know if that's me meeting you halfway and you giving me a flash drive or what, but.
If you want to take it and have it and go start doing it, I mean, you can. Like, I have no problem turning that over to you at this point. I mean, because you guys, it's your plan, so.
Either way, it's great if you want to do the work. If you do the work and you give me the copy, then I'm good. If you just want to give me it, I can do that on the weekend. It's up to you, Ed.
Okay, I'll just send it to you, and then we can go from there.
Okay. So Lynn, we'll try to get it done this weekend, all right?
Great. Any other comments before we?
I did have one item, Lynn. Are there any other tasks that people think we may want to add to the plan that we didn't cover?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had been talking with some folks about the idea of that maybe asking the Planning Commission to tasking them with doing some research around what policies might be recommended for attendance policies for appointed positions. We don't have anything like that in place, and sometimes, we run into situations where people are appointed and they don't attend positions, and we might want to be able to reappoint.
Okay. I don't know if you all need to vote on that, but I can add that, no problem.
Well, we would be voting when we get the new draft to look at all the changes, correct?
That's right, yep. So we can do it all at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other? Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ed. And please pass along thanks to everybody on the Planning Commission who worked on pulling that document together for us. That's great.
Okay, will do.
All right, so we'll move on to the next portion of our meeting. And probably want to make a note of the time on that. So it looks like at 7:18, we're going to start the agenda for the regular select board meeting. And the first item on our agenda would be to see if we have any changes to our agenda and make those changes as necessary. Does anybody have anything to add or change on the agenda?
I do. I would like to add second reading of the dump policy.
The recycling policy?
Yes, I'm sorry, the recycling policy.
I think that's what we called it, so I'm just, okay,
Yes, we called it the proposed recycling policy.
And I included those materials and everything that I sent to all the select board members. Yes. So if anybody needs a refresher on reading it, they can. Do you want to just add that under other business, Brad?
No, I'd like to see it be its own.
Okay.
It can be down there lower. I don't care where it is, but I think it should be.
We'll add it in before public comment.
Okay, and I also note that we have some members of the public present that have an interest in opening the bids for the town hall, so I would propose moving that up earlier in the agenda.
Sure. We certainly can do that. We can, why don't we put it right before the People's Bank resolution? The other things are, yeah. Okay. Any other suggestions? Not hearing any, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda as recommended by Brad.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Okay. All right, we need to do a roll call vote. Give me a minute. I've got to get to where I see a list of all of us here, so I remember to call on everybody and don't leave anybody out. Brad?
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
and Steve?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And Lynn, yes. Okay. Yep. So we got yeses on everything. So moving on, we're to review and review and approve minutes from our previous meeting. So that would be July 9th, our regular meeting on July 9th. And also we had a special meeting that we would need to approve on July 27th. And those materials I sent to you all as well. So if anybody'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes, that'd be great.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Doug.
I'll second it.
Steve, second. Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Brad, you in favor?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
We're missing Paul. Yes, okay. Doug?
Yeah.
Steve? Lynn,
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Setting the town. Did you all get the materials without setting the town tax rate? I'm going to pull mine up right now. So Doug worked up these figures, and I know he checked them and double checked them. And it appears our tax rate is right in line with what we estimated it would be at our annual meeting. So the tax rate based on our budget and the grand list would bring it in at 0.5764 for the coming year. And we can do this. We also have to set the local rate. Why don't we do them both together instead of having two motions? And then his recommendation, or the number figures out for the local agreement rate, would be 0.0019. I would entertain a motion to set the town tax rate at 0.5764 and the local agreement at 0.0019. Can I hear that motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brad. In a second.
Yep.
Second.
Is that done? Okay. And any discussion? All right. Roll call vote. Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And Lynn, yes. All right. The next order of business is that once again, it's time to decide whether we will waive the fees for late homestead filers. This is something we've done for quite a number of years. The fee would be 8%, which is really steep if somebody's a little late getting their homestead paperwork in. So if anybody'd like to make a motion to do as we've done before, feel free.
I make the motion.
So moved. Okay.
It sounds like we have Doug with the motion, and Brad, you seconded it?
What's the
Sure.
motion? Do I have the motion?
To waive
So,
the fees for late homestead filers.
thank you.
My shirt on.
Any discussion? I thought I heard a comment. I don't want to cut anybody else. Okay. So no discussion. Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Yes.
And Lynn, yes. All right, moving along here. So next up, we were going to put in opening the bids for the town hall. And I think, Brad, you had picked up the bids. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So
So our requirements for the bid were that we received sealed bids by 4 p.m. on August 10th that included a cashier's or certified check in the amount of $5,000. We received one bid that met that qualification. We also received a letter from Chipman Stables, but that was just a letter that apparently was handed personally to Lynn, and it did not meet any of the qualifications. And there was another letter from Mountain View Baptist Church, which I believe was hand-delivered to Lynn, and again, that did not meet any of the qualifications. And apparently another interested individual had a conversation on the telephone with Lynn, but did not come forth to meet the qualifications.
And just fleshing out the whole history there were actually another, I believe, 6 individuals who had originally expressed interest, some who actually we toured through and showed the town hall to. But yes, it appears, Brad, that we only have one bid that met our specifications.
Okay, so I'm about to open this envelope. And there is a letter from Pax Bellum, dated August 1st. Dear Danby Town Select Board and neighbors, this is a letter of intent to purchase the old Danby Town Hall property at 81 Danby Pollitt Road. Enclosed is our check for $5,000 in good faith to be put toward our bid if you choose to sell us the property. As some of you may know, we own and operate a local business named Pax Bellum LLC, where we manufacture water filtration systems, life support equipment for our home-based workshop here in Danby. We moved from Connecticut to Vermont in 2016 for the express purpose of giving our small business the best possible chance for success, with the love and support of our family nearby. In the 4 years here, we have nearly outgrown our existing workspace and need to expand as soon as possible to be able to keep up with the global demand for our products. A little bit about us. Over the course of 13 years, Tristan Wilson developed new technology for water filtration and has 3 U.S. patents on his invention. Pax Bellum LLC was originally formed in 2007 as a research and development company whose aim is to innovate new technologies that can be applied to a wide range of industries. The development of Tristan's patented ARID system and product line was the first of his inventions to make it to the marketplace. We chose a niche hobby industry as our test bed and point of entry to the public marketplace. In 2017, Pax Bellum officially launched with its first generation of products at MACNA in New Orleans. Pax Bellum quickly became the pioneer of an entirely new branch of water filtration technology. At first, it was not our plan to be a manufacturer of any kind, but it rapidly became apparent that outsourcing production meant a hefty loss of quality and control. So we have been building everything in-house ever since. Many of our manufacturing methods are proprietary, which has kept us at the forefront, nimble and cooperative. Pax Bellum is globally recognized as an award-winning brand in our industry and is best known for high-quality equipment, innovative technology, cutting-edge design, and an exemplary service. Success doesn't come without its fair share of challenges, but perseverance and Uncompromising standards of quality pays off. Our business is growing. And the letter continues for several more pages describing what they do, and the final sentence says, please accept our bid of $30,500 for the town hall property. Thank you for your time and consideration. If anybody would like me to read the rest of the letter, I'd be happy to, but I'm not sure that it's necessary.
Well, the Wilsons are with us. Tristan, you're there, right? And I think I can see you. Would they have anything they'd like to summarize from those missing paragraphs that they think would be especially pertinent?
I think that covered it.
Okay, I appreciate the detail that you provided, and I'll look forward to reading it and learning more about the business. That's great. All right. Well, folks, we're at the time where we have a serious offer on the table and a serious chance to consider selling our town hall. Do I hear any motions? We can make motions and then have discussion. Whether we would accept the bid.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid of $30,500.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Great. So we've got the motion made and a second, and we can discuss and et cetera, et cetera. Anybody feel strongly? My way in and provide my thoughts. I mean,
I think we're showing it.
I think that if I don't doubt that, but I remember that when we contacted the auction house, they you know, it's a pretty good offer compared to what we were told we might it's in the range of what, it's actually on the high end of the range, a little even just outside the range of what the auction house, I think, thought that we would get. Is that right, Brad?
Yes.
I mean, I've always struggled with the town's decision to sell it because I've always felt that it was an asset to see leave, because if we, you know, someday want such a building, it would cost a small fortune to ever have something like that there again. But as we've discussed at many of our meetings, the property has a number of issues that we were very forthcoming with all of our bidders about. And try as I might to rally people into thinking about, you know, putting the work to restore it and to use it. And I've been having those conversations with people for quite a number of years. I have not been able to get, you know, people committed to that. So I share that information. And then, you know, it has been presented to us that that we do have other locations in town for large numbers of people to gather. We also have the added challenge right now when next we'll all be able to gather in large quantities of people in an indoor location.
This is Annette. Could I ask a question?
Sure.
So my question's for Tristan. I think it's great to have a water purification business Danby. I just wanted to know sort of the nature of the operation. So how much traffic is generated? Are there any hazardous materials that you'll have to use? Are there just, you know, what does a day-to-day operation look like?
So we have about 4 part-time employees at the time, and we may go up to about 6 this year. We do light manufacturing of plastics. We collect all the scrap and recycle it. We do use some adhesives, but we try to do 100% no VOC, 100% solid, so there's no air quality issues. That'd be about it. And we recycle any water we use for testing the vessels. So we don't put that down the sink. It's all reused, recirculated.
So the plastics, you're not heating them and creating vapors with the plastic or fumes?
No, it's all CNC routering, so it's just cutting.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
I once lived in a building with a plastics factory in the basement, so I very sensitive to that topic.
So
you're talking about employees coming to work during the daytime. Are there what sort of hours of operation?
9 to 5, and we need the location for less than truckload pickups, like 18-wheelers. Like currently on Danby Hill Road, it's hard to get an 18-wheeler to show up. Mm-hmm. So that'd be like every week or every other week during business hours.
Thank you.
So am I right that there won't be during the week, there really won't be a large amount of traffic? And we had talked when you all looked at the space that the area in front that really has the only available parking is sufficient for your needs.
Yeah, that's sufficient. Yeah. It won't be any foot traffic. It'll just be the employees that we currently have, and a lot of them carpool.
All they do is take that handicap ramp out, and they got a good place to park.
Yep. Yeah, that's deteriorating, and that was our plan, to take that out and put a loading dock in the front. Probably like a great metal, and then also repaint it and put up signage.
And some plants.
Yeah,
that's
why
make it pretty.
Yeah, that's why I still think that should be worth about at least $50,000.
Sorry, was there a question?
And that's the best. That's the. I mean, I'd love to have other offers to consider, but we don't have them on the table. So, any other questions or thoughts about this?
Well, I'm just going to stick my 3 cents in here that, yes, it's a shame that this old historic building that we used to walk up there when we were kids in the village and play basketball, and my kids played basketball when at Courier up there from time to time. There's been a lot of dances, a lot of weddings. It's a shame to see it go, but like you said, Lynn, we've had it out there for people that wanted it, and the main discouraging thing was there's no access to parking. And so we're kind of hoping that, maybe the church or Billy would use that, seeing it was adjacent to their 2 properties. But then getting back to what Kristen said is, I've run into these 18-wheelers that are on Danby Hill Road, and it's dangerous. I've seen them up there, and I'm almost at the point where I want to put no through trucks on Danby Hill Road, because I can't blame the drivers for the 18-wheelers, and they got to have their product delivered, and it'd be a whole lot safer for us probably better for Kristen to have that area there. And like I said, I would love to have seen a higher bid, but the offer's been out there and people have known we've been wanting to sell this for some time, and nobody came up with any offers. So I think this is our chance to have another business in town and make it easier for them to get their product in and products out. And our building will still be there. It just won't be for the Danby folks, or, you know, what it was used for before, but it'll still be there. So that's my 3 cents worth. So
You make it's still there, and it's still contributing to the, you know, the economy of the community. It's still part of our community.
Yeah, we hire locals.
It's terrific. Any other comments? Well, if there are no other comments or questions, we can, got a motion on the table, right? I think we had a motion on the table to accept the bid of $30,500. Brad made the motion and Paul seconded. If there's no further discussion, we can vote. Back to my roll call vote. I have to find the list. Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
yes.
Doug?
No.
Steve?
Yes.
And Lindsay, yes. I too wish it was more money, but I don't. At some point, I'm just remembering that you know, twice the town did vote to sell it. It's been hanging out there, and I'm at least really pleased that it would be serving a function in our community with people who moved to our community and are making themselves a part of our community, and that's I think an exciting thing.
Well, I think what
So
we should have done, we should have put signs out front for sale, and I think more people would have been interested. So with a lot of people don't even know it's up for sale. I talked to quite a few guys today and said, geez, I didn't know it's up for sale, because they don't get on the internet. And they don't get the damn journal. So that's why I say no. But
Yeah.
well,
I appreciate that, and yeah, that's why we vote, and I appreciate that, Doug. So anyway, I think that we've moved to accept that bid. So we will have to be in touch with our attorney about paperwork and all of that, and we'll have them be in touch with you and see exactly how we can expedite things and move forward. I'm pretty sure that what we had said in our notice is that we would be looking to have a closing within 45 days. And I think that's also because we do have to warn it to the townspeople, and that we intend to sell it at that amount. And it is true that there's a public process in place that if enough people were to say that they were against it, then we would have to, you know, put it to a vote. The reason for that is to, you know, ensure that we are, you know, getting value for what, you know, we're selling. So we'll go through that process. That'll take 30 days, assuming that there's no interruptions in that, then it would be moving to closing in 45. And if there is, then we'd go through whatever process it is to put that, you know, at peace in the town. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you for voting for us.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for taking the time to look at it and considering, and thank you for settling your business in our little town.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right. All right. Moving on. Next thing on our agenda is the People's Bank resolution, but that is, Doug has explained to me that we can't do that today. There was a matter of warning, and so we're going to have a 7 o'clock quick call tomorrow night to approve that. But just to let everybody know, the public and just to review it with select board members, this is a line of credit that we'd be opening up with People's Banks. Essentially, it's the line of credit is in advance of getting payments for grants. And we provided them all the documentation for the grants and the money coming in, which is why they're willing to open up the line of credit. So it's just a cash flow thing because of the time of year. Taxes aren't collected yet. We have contractors due to be paid for the work that they've done on Parker Road Bridge and things like that. And the money that we will be receiving for that will be forthcoming, but there's a little bit of a lag time. So this is not unusual for us to, borrow money in advance of taxes and being able to spend things. So does anybody have any concerns or thoughts about that? Because now would be the time to talk about it. Tomorrow night we would just do a quick vote, and it's a publicly warned meeting. If the public had any concerns, they could certainly weigh in tomorrow night. But I doubt people would have any concerns. It's really just a process.
Smart decision.
We have to pay things, and some of this we have to pay in order to save some money too. There are, like I think, Paul, correct me, but aren't we able to do some? We're able to and are able to do some additional paving because we paid, quickly for paving.
Yeah, I checked with Doug. He thought we were getting close to the line, or Dougie, and he was going to get back with me, but he thought we were getting pretty close to the amount that we had set aside. We were able to do that stretch of road between Eddie Lewis's and High Bridge. That was all covered, and Doug's going to get back and see if there's anything left in there. So, and then I'll get in touch with Tom if there is, and we'll decide what we want to do, if there is enough to do a section of road or parking lot or whatever we decide to do. But I'm just waiting. Maybe I'll find out tomorrow from Dougie.
That'd be great. But we were already able to add that section from Ed Lewis's to High Bridge, right?
Yep.
We hadn't planned on that.
That was just in the access. Yep, that's all done.
That's a plus. That's a big plus.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're tabling the people's resolution until tomorrow night at 7 when we will have warned it to do that. So the next up is to appoint an auditor. We had an auditor resign, and so we need to replace an auditor. And we have 2 letters. They were in your packet. 2 people in the community have offered their services. One is Byron Batiste, and the other is Tammy Heaton. Anybody have any discussion?
Who is it to? When?
Tammy Heaton. Yeah, so Tammy Heaton. So Tammy, who works here, let me read you the letters. Let's read the letters out loud. I think that would be a good idea. Give me just a minute to pull them on my screen. Okay, here we go. So this is from Tammy Heaton. She says, "Dear Lynn, I'm writing to express my interest in being appointed as auditor for the town of Danby. I have previously held the position and believe my skills as the chief financial officer of RK Miles and previous banking experience would be of value to the town of Danby. I appreciate your consideration." So that's Tammy, who is the CFO at RK Miles, and she's had her whole working career has been in finance and banking and money management issues. So that's one letter. And then we have another letter. Let me find that. Give me just a minute. This is from Byron Batiste. "Dear Select Board, I am interested in the auditor position and would like to be appointed. Thank you, Byron Batiste." So we have 2 citizens who are willing to serve, and it's up to us to appoint somebody, for that auditor position. My one thought is that I think that when we lost Dick Smith previously, he was the person who had the most professional financial experience and background. And I don't think that we have anybody currently serving who has that same level of experience. So I'm inclined to be really grateful that Tammy's put her name in, because she has an immense amount of experience in that area. And she's already worked and volunteered to serve us and help us. She helped us with the Brock letters and other things, which she did without being appointed. She just did that as a volunteer. So I'm inclined to be grateful that she's put her name in. Would anybody have any other thoughts, or anybody like to make a motion?
Well, I'll make a motion. I think we should, like you said, Dick Smith was exceptional with his auditing. I mean, it was right to the exact penny. And Tammy has got the background and stuff. And I think if anybody else or anybody needs anything, she would be right there to, you know, she's had her whole career in auditing and currently doing the same thing and has the extra time to volunteer. So I got to say we go with the experience, and then maybe other people can learn from it, and she'll help other people on the way that want to get into this.
Well said. So we have a motion to accept Tammy. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Who was that that seconded it?
I got Paul Pierce making the motion and seconding the motion.
Oh, I seconded my own. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
We need a second.
I'll second that.
We need a second, please. Somebody? Okay, Brad's seconding it. Any further discussion?
I think Steve seconded it.
Yeah, Steve.
I'd like
Steve
to.
Sorry about
seconded
that.
it.
Sorry.
I'd like to ask
Thank
the
you for
mover and the
clarifying that.
second to insert the salary of $12, which is what the auditors are being paid.
What was that?
So I
The
think
auditors
Brad's,
are presently being paid $12 an hour, and I think that should be included in the motion.
so the motion would be to appoint Tammy Heaton to the vacated auditor position, and this is until the elections in March, correct? It's to fill out
Right.
the of a term, and we should
At
we
the
should
rate of $12 an hour.
the rate of $12 an hour. So that's appointed through March of 2021 at the rate of $12 an hour. Are you all right with that amendment to your motion, Paul?
Sure.
Okay, and Steve, are you good with that?
Yeah.
Perfect. And Chris, did you catch that? Bingo. All right, we'll do the roll call. Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Lynn? Yes. All right. And I'm thrilled that we'll have somebody in the auditor position. That's great. Next up is the discussion. We've got two pending, I shouldn't say not impending, pending tax sales. Roberts and Shelbrake properties. The sales are scheduled for September 9th at 10 o'clock. And so we would want to decide and make a motion to bid if there are no other bidders, and to ask somebody to represent the town at that meeting on 9 o'clock on that September morning, right? Not on the September 9th at 10 o'clock.
September 9th?
September 9th. Yep, 10 o'clock, September 9th.
It's a Wednesday.
Okay. I've been doing it lately, or the last couple of years, so I
That'd be
just won't
great.
do it again. I can.
Great. So do we authorize Paul to attend those sales and bid for the town up to the amount owed if there are no other bidders?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. So Brad made the motion. Was that, Doug, did you second that?
No, I made the motion.
Oh, you don't, I'm sorry. I think I don't hear very well. Doug made the motion.
Oh.
Brad, you're seconding it? Is that how it goes?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're having some real time issues here.
I think so too.
And I'm having a hard time hearing a lot of what Lynn says. You freeze up and whatnot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think it's your fault. I think it's the technology.
Yeah, and it might be VTEL tonight. Sometimes that's been happening to us, especially when Gary's on a call as well. So,
Details suck.
yeah, well, yeah. So we've got the motion made by Doug, seconded by Brad. All in favor? See, Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
I'll abstain because it's me.
Oh, okay. Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And Lynn? Yes. And you know, just a reminder, the Roberts property comes up for tax sale every year, and the likelihood that that will actually go to sale is pretty slim. They usually pay at the last minute. So it might end up only being one property, Paul, but thank you for being willing to do that and to represent the town.
Okay, that's the 9th, 9/9 at 10 o'clock.
September 9th, 10 o'clock. Correct.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Great. So our next order of business is to sign our annual financial plan for the state. It's called the TA60. And if we look in our materials, I think I tried to, it's called the annual financial plan so that it would make sense to folks. This is the plan that just basically lays out how much we will be bringing in terms of our class 1, 2, 3 roads, town tax funds of $693,000, plus the class 2, class 3 for a total of $813. Against our expenses is $813. It comes from our budget and those class 2 and 3 numbers. It's something we do every year. And then we have to, let me get to page 2. If this is the one where we sign saying we, the legislative body of the municipality of Danby, certify that the funds raised by municipal taxes and equivalent to or greater are equivalent to or greater than the sum of at least $300 per mile for each mile of class 1, 2, and 3 highway in the municipality, which it is. And so we're just attesting to that fact and signing the financial plan for the state. It looks like they would like all of our signatures on it, so we should probably ask, just have Janice, leave it on the countertop and people go in and sign it. So provided that we approve it, I'd hear a motion to approve the TA60 financial plan.
So moved.
Okay, so that was Paul. Am I right?
Yeah.
And how, a second?
I'll second it.
Steve? Any further discussion or questions? All right, we'll go down the list. Brad?
Yes.
Yes.
Doug? Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And Lynn? Yes. Okay. Next is the Nemec Contract. Let's see if I can remind people. We were considering the Nemec Contract, and remember, our attorney had reviewed the contract. Well, first we learned that it is up to the select board to sign the contract, and our attorney reviewed it and made some suggestions for clarification. Brad and I met with the listers, and they went back to Nemec and had a conversation that Maureen summarized and put in writing in an email so that there is a track record for that conversation. And that's in the materials I sent to you, called Further Information from Maureen. Let's see if I can open this. I can read it. Maybe I can't. Oh, here it comes. No. I'm having technical difficulties myself. Let's see. Can anybody else open what I sent? I should be able to, but I'm having an issue with it. Let me pull it up actually on my email, and then I'll be able to read it. Was anybody else not able to open what I had sent?
No, I can't either. That's VTEL's
Right.
good service.
It might be because she sent it in a different format. I can read it though. She wrote, "Dear Ed, thank you for taking," and Ed is the person from Nemec, Ed Claude Felter from Nemec. "Thank you for talking to me on August 10th, 2020 to confirm that the town of Danby does not have to purchase tablets for the upcoming appraisal. So we don't have to purchase tablets. I understand that the listers will help with postcards and making appointments. I would like to thank you for inviting the listers to go out with the appraiser if they would like, but it's not needed. I understand that after the initial visit and the listers get out of the postcards, the appraiser will be there for 2 days a week on an average." So I think that those addressed two of our concerns, Brad. We wanted some benchmarks, and I think that the 2 days a week sort of ensures that it's not going to be left to the end. And we definitely were worried that we were going to have to purchase some new technology in order to do this, and wanted to make sure we knew that up front. And clearly they've confirmed that we do not do. There may still be a third question, and I sent a note off to Maureen asking, and I have not heard back from her. And that was just a question to confirm that they'll be downloading the data and that we won't need to have our folks, hand entering in the data. Have you heard anything in response to that, Brad?
I have not.
I think the suggestion that I would make is that maybe somebody could make a motion to say that we would approve and sign the Nemec proposal, provided that we get confirmation on the data issue. I mean, I think it's possible that Maureen just, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I sent her a note back. Yeah, at least my computer says I sent it to her. So, but maybe we just, if we want to make a motion that we accept it pending that offer, or we can just go ahead and accept it, whatever people think.
I think we should go ahead and accept it.
I agree.
You want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
You go ahead and accept.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And Lynn? Yes. All right. So we're also going to need to sign that. At least I think 3 of us are. I'll check and see, but that might also be left on the counter. I'll email people and let folks know. Next on the agenda, I just wanted to remind the public and have as a record that we have a census deadline coming up, and it's been reported that Danby has only got about 50% responders. I don't know if people understand that the census is important because they make decisions about what regions get resources and money based on the census. So I'd love to encourage anybody who hasn't answered the census to do so. Next up is the road commissioners report.
That's me, huh?
That's you. Yes, Paul.
Well, yeah. Well, we got a few things. I won't get into long like last time, but Danby, Timoth Road paving is complete. And we had enough money left over in our budgeted for paving for the last 2 years with the grant and everything. We're able to finish the from Eddie Lewis's down to the High Bridge, so that rough section of the road is paved. And like all things, once the rough roads stop, then the complaints for speeding had come in, and so I've called the sheriff and told him to kind of keep an eye on them roads, because people are seeing that there's no bumps no more and they're flying. So I did leave. I didn't go on line today to see if they were patrolling down there, but I will check that out and make sure they are. And Parker Bridge project, finally, after 3 years and 1 month, is complete. We just got cleanup. Dan Allard's going to come in and clean everything up, and I believe Ken Abbott's doing dry hydrant there. I think that's what it was worked at. I stopped over Sunday to see Pete and his wife. Apologized for 3 years of waiting, but they were very pleased with the bridge and very happy that it's done, and it looks so good. If anybody hasn't been over there, we got quite the bridge down there. And we're still ongoing with Mount Tabor with talking about the dumpster and everything. Their board has been busy and I've been busy, so we haven't really got together for an on-site look at the area down there to see how it's going to, work out if we decide that we are going to combine with Mount Tabor. But it's just a matter of getting them together and a few of us to look it over and kind of hash things over. Road and grading, second round has started. We got 2 unfinished grants, which we got till October. So we jumped on to grading some of these roads, chloriding them, and Lori's back to mowing some more of the roadsides. At least one pass we didn't get to before these grants popped up, and we had to get them done by, I believe it's the end of July, and then we've got extended till October. So, and they're just small projects that we get done. Danby Hill's in the process right now of getting ditched and stone put in, and they're work their way down to Bonds Hill. We still got a little bit of money left in the grant to continue down through. And I guess that's it right now off the top of my head.
So I got a question for you, Paul.
Yeah.
When's Larry gonna finish ditching on Danby Timoth Road?
What's that?
When is Larry gonna finish the ditching on the Danby Timoth Road?
What section?
Right there in front of my field.
I not sure. I thought it was complete, but I'm not sure.
Well, the last we talked about it, you said we were draining the water north of that culvert to the Sucker Brook, and there's no way it can happen right now. And
times I've been by, there's been no standing water in there, but if we need to go down lower, we will. I haven't seen any standing water in there after a couple of times I've been up after these downpours, but that I can't get there right off. But I haven't. If there is, we'll mark them and then we'll ditch it down more. Has there been any standing water in there?
I've never seen it.
No. I'm just wondering if there is, if you got anything, just mark where it is, and if we have to, we'll get a transit on there, and we will go down deeper. It's kind of hard to do eyeballing it, but it looked like it was enough at the time. But like I said, I'll wait. If there is standing water, then I'll mark it, and we'll get back there and go down deeper. We can get down deeper on that if we have to. I just want to make sure that water stays drained going down into Sucker Brook.
Well, I need to do something before we start cutting corn in September, and I don't want to put a culvert in or do any work to it to find out that it's not right. When the shoulder was put in, I can see that it's already dammed it up at that ash tree.
I ain't aware of that, but I will take a look at it. But like I said, I've been looking for standing water. And that's the first sign that we got a low spot or a couple high spots that need to be taken down. And we've had some pretty good downpours here in the last week and a half that should have had something standing water for a day or two.
We got 4.5 inches of rain in the last few storms on my rain gauge. 4.5 inches on my gauge. And I didn't see no standing water there. Well, I don't know. Maybe I ain't.
Like I said, I don't go by it every day. You do, Doug, and Steve, you do. And if there is, just let us know, and we'll try to take care of it. I'm hoping that dries that out a little bit in that area for you, Steve. I really do. The way it was before, that water was just getting where it couldn't go anywhere, and hopefully it's draining off in there, and the water it is in that field, hopefully it's dry for you. I really do. There ain't nothing any worse than trying to harvest and have mud running up around your axles. So we'll do everything we can to make it work for you.
Why'd you gotta
Would that be the case now?
How wide you gotta have it to get in with your chopper?
To get in with that chopper and big wagon, I'm going to guess 16 feet unless you can come on dead straight.
How much?
16 minimum.
Okay, that culvert is 20 foot, and I measure from that post down to that culvert on the far side, and it's 25 foot. So why couldn't you just go in on that? Because you got 20 foot on that culvert. You should be able to get in there okay. Because I went down and measured it, and it's 25 feet from that post where they got the gate, where they got that chain, to that culvert. It's 25 feet, and you got 20 some odd feet on the culvert. And you only need 16 foot. You should be able to get in okay. I could do it easy enough. I'm sure you can.
Like I said
At this
before,
point, would it be wet or dry?
What was that?
move on.
Go ahead, Steve.
We can go to the next thing.
All right. And so what I heard is that Paul's going to take a look, and if there's water, you're going to let him know, right?
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I'm only up there probably once, maybe twice a week now. So if it does rain, I'll try to shoot up there quick. But the times I've been up there after rain, I didn't see any water in there. But like I said, I'm not traveling that road every day. So if there is, let's let us know, and we want to make this so Steve can get in there with no problem, and hopefully that water will come off from that meadow up, or that field up there and get into the ditch and down into Sucker Brook.
Well, with 4.5 inches of water, and I'd like go by there every day, and I haven't seen no water in that ditch. So the only place you ever see water is north of the ditch.
Yeah, I've seen it in there, north
Yep.
or north of that culvert, but it's all flat. It's all
Yeah,
flat
that's the
in
only
there, and yeah.
That's the only place I've seen water. So I go by there pretty near every day. And 4.5 inches of rain, you should see some water in that ditch. It was.
Yep.
All right, we'll
right.
work with you, Steve.
All right,
I
so
think that's
moving
all I
on.
got, Lynn.
All right. Thank you, Paul. We're open for public, it's at the point of the agenda for public comment, and we've been welcoming public as we've gone along, but is there any other comment to bring to bear?
Somewhere we were going to get the second reading in.
Oh, yes. Where were we going to get the second reading? Yes, before public comment.
Ooh, what is that noise?
Oh, that's somebody getting that's my computer. So the second reading. The recycling policy. Would you like to read the policy for the second reading? Brad, would you like to do the honors?
Sure.
I've got it pulled up if you'd rather me do it.
I'll make a motion to adopt our recycling policy, which reads as follows. Individuals found to have placed non-recyclable items in the Danby recycling compactor that are rejected by our waste hauler will be responsible for reimbursing the town for any fee assessed against the town for the same.
Okay, do we hear a second to adopt this?
I second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. Brad, do you approve?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And Lynn, yes. Motion carries. Thanks for that reminder, Brad. So then we're back to public comment. There we are. Well, I had to pull us all back up with the screen for a minute. Yes, so public comment. Do we have any other public here to comment? All right. Hold on a second. So that brings us to other business. Do we have any other business to bring in front of the select board?
Yes, you do.
Yes, I have
other business. You just wait, Brad, till I get done. I spoke first.
Okay.
I'm concerned about the town employees and some members of the public said they're uncomfortable with Brad not wearing a mask in the town office. I think we should have him eliminated from the town office. Now, Brad,
So Well, I guess I just want to add that I have also heard complaints, and I have complaints in writing.
I have too.
I also would remind folks that we extended a courtesy to the water district to use the office. And, now we have the added responsibility as the select boards in that public building, according to the governor and everything, we have the added responsibility to be determined who are essential employees and non-essential employees should not be in the building. So you know, maybe we need to reconsider the courtesy of allowing that space to be used by the water district.
I make a motion, we shouldn't let the water district use it, and they should be out of there. And Brad
Anybody
shouldn't be there.
second that motion? And then well, let's get a second and then we can discuss.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Do I hear a second? Okay. So further discussion.
I don't think Brad should be in there using it, or the water districts, and using their computer, using their copier, and using their telephones at no cost to the water company. And not wearing a mask because nobody wants to go in there. I wouldn't go in there because he never has the goddamn thing on. So I think we should let him, by Monday morning, he should have all that stuff out of the office so people can come in, because a lot of taxpayers, seniors, are coming in to pay their taxes, and him not having a mask on don't want to go in, and I don't blame him.
Well, tax bills haven't even been sent
So you
out
make a
yet,
good-
so I don't see
No,
why
but there's
taxpayers are coming in.
There's going to be a lot of people pay their taxes before the bill goes up, part-time. So I say, get the hell out of there if you don't want to wear a mask.
Well, I have a medical dispensation for not wearing a mask, Doug.
That's more reason you should do all your work at home. As long as you got a medical reason, can't wear a mask, do your work at home. Take your goddamn water stuff, all that stuff up there, and you can do it at home, and you don't have to worry about wearing a mask.
So I'll weigh in here. I don't think, I appreciate, Doug, Brad, that you have a medical reason to not. But we also have an obligation to see that the governor's orders are being followed in that building. And the water district work is not the work, as you've reminded me many times, that that's not government, town government. That's been a courtesy. And so if you can't do it and do it safely, our job is to protect the public who needs to access that building any day and every day for whatever reason. It's not just when they go to pay taxes. The other thing that is pertinent to this is that there may be some liability if one of our select board members doesn't follow governor's orders and select board orders and goes in without a mask. If one of our employees gets sick, there could be huge liability for the town.
That's
because
right.
we've been told that non-essential workers should not be in spaces, period, and especially a non-essential worker who is unable to comply with the mask ordinance for health reasons.
That's right. I agree with you, 100%.
Well, the fire district extends the courtesy of free water to the town of Danby also. So maybe the fire district should charge the town of Danby the commercial rate like they do to other businesses.
Well, I've got my own well, so I ain't got to worry about it.
Well, Brad,
Yeah, right.
Brad, for many, many years, the fire district, you know, as I understood from our attorney, the fire district has, you know, they have an obligation to be providing their own workspace, their own, you know, things. This isn't new. I mean, you asked to the courtesy of that space several years ago, but prior to that time, that work was not done in that office. And the problem now is there's two problems. The problem that was brought to my attention is the problem that you're unable to discharge that work safely in the office, protecting other people. And then the second thing that was brought up tonight is that, you know, I don't know what the value of the phone and the computers and all those things are and how that relates or doesn't relate to the courtesy of
It's not Danby property. It's fire district property, the computer.
It's
and the
not
filing cabinet.
Oh, take it home then.
So you could do that work remotely. It doesn't have to be done in the town office where you're unable to wear a mask and protect the public.
That's right. You're right. Because
Is that correct?
we're not wearing a mask, all the seniors come in here, and if he has the virus, they could take it home to their kids and just keep passing it on, which is totally stupid. The governor made this mandatory that in public places you have to wear a mask. If you can't wear a mask, you've got a doctor's statement, take all your work home. Get the hell out of there.
Well, and I think the issue for us is that as much as we enjoyed.
Well, I've been doing most of the work when there are not people around during normal business hours.
That doesn't make any difference. You're still contaminating the phone, the copy machine, and everything else when you handle it. If you have the virus and don't know it, we don't know if you got it or not. You could spread it. So when somebody comes in to use the copy machine, if they touch it and it's not sterilized, then they could catch it. Simple as that. Come on, wake up and smell the roses.
So we have a motion on the table to rescind the courtesy of allowing the water district to and Brad to use that space. And I think that was your motion, Doug, was to
That's right.
to rescind that and to ask.
And have everything out there by the 17th.
Yeah. So we have that motion.
I'm not hearing what
Brad,
you're saying.
is that possible for you to have
out.
everything out? Is it possible for you to have everything out by the 17th?
No, I don't know when I could have it out. It's a fireproof filing cabinet that weighs probably over 500 pounds. It's not like I can just lift it up and take it.
The things that you need for day-to-day operations from that cabinet, could you just take those home for what you need now?
Probably.
There's no reason why. Okay. Okay, we got the motion. Is somebody going to second it?
Yeah, I was waiting to hear. Yeah, the motion was already seconded. Yeah, we were in discussion. I wanted to see, so Brad, you're saying you can't move the whole cabinet, but I doubt you need everything in the cabinet to work day to day. Can you just bring home what you need to work?
I don't have space at home.
Make the space. You got a big house here, just you there.
So because you don't have space, Brad, it's not okay for other people to be
it's not our problem.
Potentially
it's not our problem.
Virus.
It's not our problem if you don't have the space. Our problem is the virus.
Which there hasn't been one case of in Rutland County.
Well, we had 3 cases
Excuse me?
week. We had 3 cases
There's 100.
last week right here in Danby.
Yeah.
The people about John Stone's house from Connecticut, the guy that does the work for Smoky House over on Blood Street, went over, did work in the house. He come down positive, and the 2 people, they checked on the house, and they were both positive for the COVID virus. And I'm in a high-risk area, and I shouldn't have to worry about touching doorknobs or anything else. It's not just breathing in the air. It's anything you touch. I mean, I've gone through so much freaking hand sanitizer in the last 3 months. I fill a gallon jug and mask and everything. And I'm in that high-risk category, and I don't want to gamble it anywhere. I don't care. I mean, I only go into Rutland once a week. And even when I go through the drive-thru at the bank, anything I touch, I got the hand sanitizers going in and going out. And I'm not taking any chances.
No, me either, Paul. I'm with you.
Yes.
Oh, I see you in the town office without your mask, Paul.
I wear rubber gloves. I wear a mask when I go into public places, and I mean, I'm not taking no chance. I'm 75 years old. And I don't want to get that friggin' virus. I've seen people die with it, and we got.
So I want to clarify.
Brad,
got the motion.
I got my
Brad.
mask around my. The only reason I took my mask off in the office is the tack, Brad. I've got asthma, and I shouldn't be wearing that myself, but I use it when I go in and talk to anybody, and if they can't hear me, I pull it down around my neck so I can speak to them. So don't sit there and tell me I haven't worn it in the office.
Right.
You just said you haven't. You take it off and wear it down around your neck.
I got it around my neck. Brad, I got it around my neck.
Well, that's not stopping what
down.
comes out of your nose or your mouth.
Well, it's better than that shield you had over your face.
The point is,
Right. That shield, it don't help that much.
Hey, guys.
No, we got it seconded. Let's keep going with it.
yes,
let's
let's
not-
keep
I'm
going.
gonna say
So we've got a motion.
We got a motion. We had it seconded.
Yeah, so I'm going to call the question. And Brad, I'm not sure you can vote because I think you have a conflict of interest.
Right.
So it's up to you, but I'm assuming you would abstain. So Paul,
No, I'm going to vote no.
I'm voting yes.
Oh, no.
all right, so Brad's not,
Paul?
and Paul, you're voting
Yes.
yes? Doug?
Yes.
Steve? Steve? So you could abstain, I guess, if you have a conflict of interest, but I don't see where you have a conflict of interest.
Maybe he went to bed.
Maybe we lost him.
Steve? Maybe. I think he's still on. We'll just say he didn't vote. And Lynn, I've got to be a yes. I think our obligation is to protect the people of the town in our town building, and I'm sorry, but I think that has to come first.
I agree with you 110%.
And I'd like to just say, Brad, that you should look at the Department of Health
I can't
statistics.
hear you.
Rutland County has 100 cases. 100. It's in the Department of Health reports those numbers every day.
6 new cases just the day before yesterday.
Okay, you voted. You don't have to
Yeah.
keep rubbing my nose in it, okay?
Okay, good.
Fair
Good
enough.
night.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm
No,
making a
I
motion
have
to-
other business.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad. You've got other business. Brad, what is your other business?
There's a member of the Historical Society who has been doing a lot of research as far as getting a historic marker placed for Micah Vale. This would be similar to the historic marker that we have down by the bridge for Pearl Buck. It's a state historic marker. Captain Micah Vale was in the Revolutionary War, and he's worked with Smoky House to get permission to put it on their land near the site of where the Vale House was. And one of the requirements for applying for a historic marker is to have the approval of the town select board. So I would make a motion to approve the placement of a historic marker for Captain Michael Vale.
Can I hear a second?
Well, if it's part of our town history and it's not going to be, well, I can't say not going to be, it's got to be in the public eye. So I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Those in favor, Brad?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And me, yes. Lynn, yes. All right.
Where's this located, Dad? Where's
Any
this
other-
located, Dad?
It's across kind of from where the food stand is.
At Smoky House?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's an interesting location. I thought the property was out down by the 16 corners. Huh, but I'm not too sure.
I may not be perfectly clear on it, but it was my understanding that it's somewhere in the vicinity of the Reed Cemetery.
I
can't hear you.
Okay with it being on their property.
I
think as
couldn't
long as
hear what you said.
Smokehouse
It
is
just
okay
sounds
with it
like
being-
banjo music. Smoky House has given permission.
Yeah. I would hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
So moved. Second it.
I'm just going to say all in favor. Anybody not in favor?
All right.
Then we'll assume roll call vote is fine. All right. Good night, everybody.